Hey, Corey's Canvas here once again. If you're a new viewer, hope you enjoy the content, but long-time viewers will know that I've done 2 videos in the past on a certain topic that's quite personal to me and a lot of my viewers. That topic being ASD, autism. For those who don't know, I have ASD, but that should be obvious enough to most of my viewers. But it has affected me and my family, friends, etc. in quite a lot of ways, and I've explained that in the 2 previous videos shown here. But I haven't visited the topic in quite a while because that's not all I'm about. I liked doing other videos, but I haven't touched this topic of ASD in a while, so I was like, screw it, let's visit it again, but with a twist. I decided to make an autism Q&A, and the people have spoken. I got a lot of interesting questions, so let's smack right into this. Okay, so the first question is, how is autism diagnosed? Interesting one. Now, obviously, I'm no psychiatrist or whatever, but I will provide links in the description of how the autism diagnosis happens by actual professionals if you want to read on that. Instead, what I'm going to do is explain how I personally was diagnosed with ASD. This will be fun. So, I was 13 years old. I think it was 2011, and I was with my mother in Clonmel, a town in Ireland. And I went to this kind of, I think it was, psychiatrist centre or whatever, and I had a lady test me. I can't really remember her name. But basically the tests included, there was one specific test where it was me, my mother and the lady were, now I was like 13 at the time, basically still a kid like. So she had action figures thrown all over the place. And she basically asked, the psychiatrist woman asked me to play with her. As in play with the figures with her. Play with the figures with her. But I was too shy. I didn't want to. Another test was eyesight test, which I passed with flying colours because I don't need glasses, thankfully. But a part of that test was eye contact, which I struggled really hard with back in those times. And she clearly noticed. Other tests included speech tests, which I wasn't too bad at. And I can't really remember any of the other ones. But the whole point was, as a kid, I had no reason why I was going in for those tests. My mother, being conservative and polite, only gave me the small details. But when I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, I think it was a few weeks after, then I knew everything I needed to know. And my mother, as well as the psychiatrist woman, explained everything. It was funny because I was shy back in those times, and I was only starting secondary school, so when it was figured out that I had ASD, my instant reaction was, that makes sense as to why I'm so shy. Obviously that's changed over the years, but it's interesting to think on that. But in a nutshell, that's how I was diagnosed. But read those links below if you want to read the technical process, because obviously I wouldn't know that. I'm not qualified. Number 2. What do I wish that people who didn't have autism knew or were more aware of when it comes to the topic of autism and people with it? I'm really paraphrasing that question here, but basically, what do I wish more people that didn't have autism were aware of? Oh, Jesus, I'm gonna have a field day with this one. Number 1. It's not a bad thing. It just means that the kid or adult with ASD is different in a few ways. Whether, it's speech difficulties or lack of eye contact or difficulty socializing, all that sort of thing. Or even poor motor functions, which is another big symptom, which could link to dyspraxia, which I was tested for before. I don't have it. But that is one thing. It's not bad. It just simply means that your child or an adult you're caring for with ASD is going to be a little bit different. It's not the end of the world or anything. That's one. Number two. I'm going to do a dramatic zoom for this one. Big breath. ASD cannot be cured. Now that I got that out of my chest, ASD forms in the brain before the child is even born. Again, I'll put links in the description that prove this. But it's not a disease. Vaccines don't cause it. You can't cure it. Well, you can take medication to reduce some of the symptoms, but you can't take medication to cure it. That is utterly false and just stupid. But that's another big thing. It can't be cured. Thank God more and more people are starting to realise that. But there was this company called Autism Speaks in America. I'm sure you've heard of them. You know, the lighted up blue for autism. And one of their ads, I swear, was just disgusting. Basically, it portrayed autism as being more spread than cancer and AIDS and the rest of it combined. Basically portraying it as a disease. And it got it so wrong, it was appalling. So that's another thing. It can't be cured. 3. ASD is a spectrum. It is one of the most unnarrow, like wide, broad, whatever, disorders on the planet. Not every case is the same. Every single case is unique. I have mild functioning ASD or Asperger's syndrome, so the disorder only affects me mildly. It affected me more when I was younger, but now it's very mild. My twin sister, Casey, on the other hand, who is a great twin sister, it does affect her a little bit more. She would be a bit more severe, but she's still an absolute pleasure to be around. So yeah, every single case is different. Different medication, but you really shouldn't use medication. Different treatments, different forms of early intervention, different schools, different care systems and whatnot. They're not all the same. That's my point. Every case of ASD is different. So please, for the love of God, don't use bigoted statements like all ASD children are dependent on their families for their whole lives, or as some stupid people would say, those kids are autistic, that means they're special or retarded. I don't know what's more actually special, that assumption or the bigoted moron who said it. But yeah, ASD is broad, it's not narrow, every case is different. Moving on. What is my opinion on the word Asperger's being pronounced? Oh Jesus, that's a funny one. I think it's stupid, funny, and necessary, all at the same time. Like, the doctor who came up with Asperger's syndrome is named Asperger, so obviously his syndrome, he came up with it, but I don't even have to make fun of the name, like, and I have Asperger's. Like, Asperger's, come on, here's a picture, like. Even South Park took this, and took the piss out of this, like, with an episode literally called, I think it was called Asperger's, where Eric Cartman in it made Asperger's. Like, the comedy writes itself. Like, the pronunciation is stupid. I think he was a German or Austrian, whatever, doctor, but the pronunciation, like I said, is both funny, necessary, and stupid at the same time. Like, Asperger's, like, for God's sake. This question is a really, really long one, so I'm going to paraphrase it. But the question basically says, in the same way that you describe colours to a blind person when they're born, is there ways that people without autism can't comprehend the way people with ASD think, or the opposite, where the way neurotypical people think we can't comprehend? Or myself in my unique case. That's a big question, but a good one. So I'll do it one piece at a time. When it comes to comprehending what neurotypicals think. As a mild ASD person, no, I don't have a problem with it for the most part. However, when I was younger, I did have a problem learning, phrases like a piece of cake, for example, or reading certain facial expressions that weren't an obvious smile or an obvious frown. Like, those things that a lot of people with ASD struggle with as well. But honestly, and I have to give people credit, I think with early intervention and with certain teachers and assistants, I think they've gotten so good at learning how to teach people with ASD high or low severity cases that it's not that much of an issue anymore. Like, obviously it's still going to be a struggle because you have so many different cases, but in terms of comprehension, for me personally, not really. I'm pretty sure I comprehend everything on a neurotypical level now because I'm mild ASD. But again, so many different cases, so the comprehension would be wide. In terms of the opposite of that question, yes, I think there are things that people, neurotypicals, can't comprehend the way we think or feel. For example, sensitivity to certain noises and touches. There are a lot of ASD people that, cover their ears when a noise is too high, or don't like a certain way that they're touched because sensory differences, I suppose, that neurotypicals probably would be confused with, or would have a struggle with. Neurotypical is basically another word for a normal person. Normal person. God, that term's overrated. But, yeah, that comprehension struggle will definitely be there. One really big example of all of this is the classic act of stimming. Now, for those who don't know what stimming is basically an ASD person's way, or any person's way really, of relieving stress or tension. Think of it as fidgeting. Stimming could be another thing that neurotypical people have difficulty comprehending why people with ASD do it, but I pretty much explained it there, to relieve tension, to relax, to get into their own little world. Like, a classic example of ASD stimming would be this, to basically flip your hands, look elsewhere, and just watch the world go by, enjoy yourself. Another example would be to do this, to flip an object and just shake it all over the place. So that's another way comprehension could be thrown around, understanding the act of stimming. A really good video I'm going to have linked in the description, another link, is from an old cartoon called Arthur, but the way they describe how people with ASD comprehend things is unbelievable. I think they did it so well, and for anyone who's interested, you have to check that video out. Next question. Basically, how old was I when I started to talk? Good one, because a lot of people with ASD have difficulty speaking, so their speech is probably delayed, or they take a lot longer than other kids to learn how to speak. For me personally, I can't even remember, but from what my mother and father say, I think I was around somewhere between 5 to 7 years old when I started to learn how to talk. I knew how, but I never did, to actually talk to my family and such. But it's funny because my mother said, I'm so sorry for using this voice if you're watching this, Bridget, but she basically said, no, he waited all the way till he was 7 to learn how to start talking, and now when he was 7 years old he wouldn't shut up. My mother does not sound like that, obviously, but you get the idea. My speech was delayed. I'm not sure about my twin case yet. Again, we were kids, I can't remember, but it was definitely delayed for a few years. So for any parent that has a kid that has speech delay, don't worry. And if it's a high ASD functioning case, they will learn how to speak, but just at a later stage than most kids. And for low functioning cases of ASD, just use lots of early intervention, do a lot of research, get help, and use sign language if they still don't talk after a long time. You'll figure it out. There's lots of help on ASD out there in the area of speaking, thankfully. Is there any advice I'd give to other people on the ASD spectrum when it comes to adjusting their routine in general, or especially adjusting their routine because of the current COVID-19 lockdown? That's a good one. I'll give you the joke answer and the real answer. The joke answer is, you don't have to go to school, you don't have to interact with others, you can stay in your room, blast all the music you want, and have no one kill you for it. Enjoy it, people on the spectrum, enjoy it. But the real answer, and it would be a very peaceful time. But anyway, more on that in the real answer. Stick with your family, because they know you more than anyone else. They know how to deal with you and they love you to the fullest. So do activities with your family. Parents still do intervention with your kids on the spectrum. And for other people on the spectrum watching this, do what I did in the joke answer. Enjoy this peaceful introverted time to the max, where no one's gonna bother you. You don't have to get up to go anywhere to be quiet. It's paradise. But on a serious note, understand that it is going to be a difficult time because your routine's probably changed a lot. You probably won't be able to go to the cinema once a week or do your special day thing with your family or friends once a week. So it is difficult times. Just talk to your family or just be there with your family. Do a lot of research online on the current pandemic and try your best not to get too worked up over it, because this pandemic it's just shit, but it will end eventually. You'll be laughing at this when you watch this video when the pandemic's over. And just enjoy the peaceful time in pandemic, but if your routine has been changed too much, just stick to those closest to you. They'll know what to do, you'll know what to do, and that safe bond with your family will bring you guys even closer, ASD or not. Right, and that's pretty much it for all the questions. Thank you so much for watching once again, guys, and I hope you check out the links below in the description because you'll find some really interesting stuff relating to ASD. Far more stuff than I could cover in a single video. But thanks for asking the questions, everyone, and they were really, really interesting ones. And again, thanks for watching. This has been Corey's Canvas. I'll see you in the next one.